Hello students, welcome to Vihira Academy. I am your educator Dr. Hina Devnani and today we are going to study second part of chapter number 4 of 11th standard biology. The name of the chapter is Animal Kingdom. In our previous video, we have studied the basis of classification of animal kingdom. Now today we are going to discuss three important phyla of this kingdom. The first phylum is phylum Porifera. Now as you can see, the name is phylum Porifera. Pori means pores. The animals of this kingdom have pores on their body. As you can see in this image, here you can see there are some big pores as well as there are some minute pores. So the animal consists of pores on its body and that's why the name is phylum Porifera. First we'll discuss some general characters of this phylum. The first character is grade of organization. The animals of this kingdom possess cellular level of organization. What is the meaning of this? This means that the animal consists of loose aggregates of cells. Cells are present, the animal is multicellular, but these cells are not formed or not grouped into tissues. That's why we can say they are having cellular level of organization. Talking about symmetry, these animals are mostly asymmetrical. They don't have any symmetry. Yes, there are few animals of phylum Porifera showing radial symmetry. Radial symmetry means you can divide the body of the animal into two equal halves from any plane. The third type of symmetry is bilateral symmetry, in which the body of the animal is divided into two equal halves only from one single plane. But these animals are not bilaterally symmetrical. Either they are asymmetrical, which most of them are, or they are radially symmetrical. They don't possess coelom. That's why they are called as acoelomate. Most of the organisms are marine. They all are aquatic and most of them are marine. They live in salt water. The lifestyle is sedentary. That means they don't move. They can be solitary or colonial. Solitary means they live as single organisms or they can live in groups forming colonies. That's why they are called as colonial. They don't have any digestive system. Their digestion is intracellular. That means the digestion takes place inside the cells. They don't possess any respiratory system and they don't have any circulatory system. Reproduction is carried out by two methods, either asexual or sexual. Asexual in most of the cases is fragmentation. But some of the poriferans also show internal budding, which is called as gemule formation. When they reproduce sexually, they reproduce by production of sperms and ova. And these organisms are hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite means sperms and ova are produced in the same organism. Or we can say male and female are present in the same organism. Their fertilization is internal. That means the fertilization takes place inside the body. They show indirect development. Indirect development means when they give rise to young one, the young one is not similar to the adult. It shows larval stages. Next, we'll talk about their unique features. The unique feature of phylum Porifera is water canal system. They possess a very unique feature of canal system. Why it is called canal system? Because as you can see in this figure, small canals are being formed. Now what happens in this canal system? The body of the poriferans have minute pores on their entire surface. These pores are called as ostia. They also possess a big pore which is called as osculum. What is the significance of these pores? These pores allow the surrounding water to enter in their bodies. As you can see, I have written here, water enters through ostia and this water goes into the cavity of the body. The cavity of the body is called as spongocoele. And after that, the water comes out through osculum. So this is the canal system. It starts from ostia, it goes to spongocoele and it comes out through osculum. Now what happens in this canal system? When the water is entering in the body of poriferan through ostia, the water brings food, the water also brings oxygen. So nourishment and oxygen enters in the body of the poriferan. It goes into the spongocoel. From spongocoel, the digestion process, the respiration process takes place. Then what happens? The waste products that are produced in the body go out through osculum along with the water. Now, along with waste products, osculum also removes out carbon dioxide. So, gaseous exchange and removal of waste takes place through osculum. Another characteristic is spongocoel and the canals are lined with special cells which are called as choanocytes. As you can see here, I've labeled it choanocytes. These are small cells which are present on the surface of the spongocoel. They are also called as collar cells. The body of a sponge or poriferan is supported by skeleton, and the skeleton is made up of spicules. It also consists of some fibers which are called as spongin fibers. Example of poriferans: Cycon, Spongilla and Euspongia. Now here you can see the diagram of a choanocyte. See, this is a choanocyte and they are called as collar cells because they possess a structure which is called as collar. This collar consists of microvilli. They also have a flagellum. Here you can see the structure. These are the choanocytes. They are lined on the inner surface of the wall of a sponge or a poriferan. Now here you can see some yellow colored structures. These are spicules and they form the skeleton of the sponge. Here there is another figure of a sponge. Here you can see holdfast. This holdfast is responsible for attaching the sponge to the substratum. As I said earlier, sponges have a sedentary lifestyle. That means they are attached to a substratum or to a support. And they are attached to the support with the help of this holdfast. So these are the special characteristics of phylum Porifera. Now we'll move to second phylum, which is known as phylum Cnidaria. This is a jellyfish. It is the example of phylum Cnidaria. Why they are called as Cnidaria? Because they consist of special cells called cnidoblast that we'll be discussing later on. Let's study the general characters of phylum Cnidaria. They possess tissue grade of organization. That means their cells are grouped into tissues. But the tissues are not grouped into organs. That's why they are called as they are having tissue grade of organization. Their symmetry is radial. That means you can divide the body into two halves from any plane. They possess two germ layers. That's why they are known as diploblastic. The names of the germ layers are ectoderm and endoderm. And between ectoderm and endoderm, a non-cellular layer is present which is called as mesoglia. We have already discussed about these germ layers in our previous video. They don't have coelom, that's why they are called as acoelomate. All the cnidarians are aquatic. Most of them are marine. They can be sessile or free swimming. Sessile means they'll be stationary on one place, and free swimming means they don't have to be stationary. They can move around in the water. They have two types of lifestyles. Either they can remain solitary or they can remain in groups called as colonial. They possess digestive system, but their digestive system is incomplete. What is the meaning of incomplete digestive system? They have only one opening in their alimentary canal. They possess two types of digestion. The digestion can be intracellular as well as extracellular. They don't have any respiratory system or circulatory system. Talking about the unique features of phylum Cnidaria, phylum Cnidaria show a very unique characteristic which is known as sexual dimorphism. Cnidarians are present in two forms called as polyps as well as medusa. This is a polyp. Polyps are generally cylindrical shaped, and this is a medusa. Medusa is umbrella shaped. They possess sexual dimorphism and their reproduction consists of alternation of generation. That means they can reproduce asexually and alternate it with sexual reproduction. Polyps reproduce asexually to form medusa, and medusa reproduce sexually to form polyps. They are not hermaphrodite, that means their sexes are separate. Fertilization is carried out outside the body, and the development includes larval stages, so we can say that the development is indirect. Here you can see the diagram of alternation of generation. Polyps is tubular. As I said earlier, it is cylindrical or tubular. It is attached. It is not free swimming. It is having a sedentary lifestyle. It is asexual form, and its tentacles and mouth are directed upwards. Here you can see this is a polyp. The best example of polyp is Hydra. Another example is Adamsia. Medusa is umbrella-like. Here you can see this is the diagram of Medusa. It is free swimming. It is sexual form, and its tentacles and mouth are directed downwards, as in jellyfish. Jellyfish is also called as Aurelia. So here you can see this is adult Medusa. Adult Medusa lays eggs. This is larva, planula larva. Here it is growing and it forms a polyp. Polyp will then form buds, asexual buds, and asexual buds will give rise to immature Medusa and then a mature Medusa, or we can say an adult Medusa. Their tentacles consist of nidoblast. As I said earlier, they are known as cnidarians because the tentacles consist of nidoblast. Here, this is the diagram of a nidoblast. Tentacles are finger-like structures. They surround the mouth of the cnidarians. As you can see in the previous figure we have seen, both polyps and medusa consist of tentacles, and tentacles surround their mouth. What is the function of these tentacles? Tentacles are used for capturing food. Tentacles are also used for defense. Now, how they are used for defense? They are used for defense because tentacles consist nidoblast, and nidoblast consist stinging cells or poison-filled capsule, which is called as nematocyst. Here, this is a nematocyst. Here you can see this is a trigger, and inside there is poison. Whenever there is a predator or a prey, this trigger will give signal, and this nidoblast will come out like this. It will be ejected out, and because of this, the cnidarian can throw poison in the body of the predator or prey, and that's why these nidoblasts are used for capturing food as well as for defense. Nidoblast is also used for anchorage. If they want to attach to a surface, any surface, if they want support, they can use these nidoblasts. They have a gastrovascular cavity inside their body, which is called as coelentron. That's why cnidarians are also known as coelentrates. And they have an opening which is called as mouth. As you can see in this figure, this part, the green color part, is the gastrovascular cavity called as coelentron, and here there is an opening which is called as mouth. You can also call it as hypostome. This is the figure of a jellyfish. You can see various parts of the body. Here there is eye spot. These are the tentacles. Here there are stinging cells. This is the mouth, and this is the gut. That means the alimentary canal. As you can see here in this alimentary canal, there is no opening over here. It is a blind tube. And here there is one opening, mouth. That's why we can say they have incomplete digestive system. Coelentrates also consist of corals. These are the corals. So our next phylum is phylum Ctenophora. There is a special characteristic of the members of this phylum, and that is these animals have a property of bioluminescence. That means they can release light from their body. These are the general characters of phylum Ctenophora. They have tissue grade of organization. Their cells form groups which are called as tissues, but tissues do not form organs. They show radial symmetry. They have two germ layers. That means they are diploblastic. They do not possess any coelom, hence they are called as acoelomate. They are aquatic organisms and exclusively marine. Freshwater forms are not found. They can live solitary, and they also have pelagic form of life. That means they live in open oceans near the surface. Their digestive system is incomplete. That means there is only one single opening. The digestion can be intracellular or extracellular, inside the cells or outside the cells. They don't have any respiratory system or circulatory system. Reproduction, their reproduction is carried out only and only in sexual manner. These organisms are hermaphrodite. That means male and female are present in the same individual. They carry out external fertilization, and their development is indirect. That means they have certain unique features. Let's see that. Their locomotion is done by 8 vertical external rows of ciliated comb plates, as you can see here. See, these are ciliated comb plates. Here also you can see in this figure. They also have tentacles that we can see over here. They have the ability to emit light, as I said earlier, from their body, and this phenomena is called as bioluminescence. You can see whatever pictures I've shown you, in all the pictures the animals are emitting light. That is known as bioluminescence. So here we complete three phyla, basic phyla of simple organisms, that is Porifera, Coelenterata or Cnidaria, and the third one was Ctenophora. In the next video, we'll be moving on with other three phyla. Till then, thank you, have a nice day and take care.